Hey everyone, and welcome. So, if you've never ever written a single line of code in your life, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to start from absolute zero and get to know Python, which happens to be one of the most popular and, yeah, powerful programming languages on the entire planet. Let's just dive right in.
Oh man, we've all been there, right? You're just staring at your screen, clicking away, doing the same mind-numbing task over and over and over again. It's that kind of work that honestly feels like it was designed to make you go crazy. Your time is just way too valuable for that. And that right there, that's the big promise of programming. It's all about taking those repetitive, super boring tasks and just writing down a set of instructions so your computer, this incredibly fast machine sitting on your desk, can do it all for you, in seconds. Okay, so that word, programming, it can sound pretty intimidating. You see it in the movies, right? Someone's furiously typing all this cryptic green text on a black screen. But the reality, it's so much less mysterious and way more accessible than you think. When you strip everything away, that's all a program is. Seriously, it's just like giving a friend instructions to get to your house. Turn left at the light, then go straight for 2 blocks. A program is just a list of instructions for a computer. The only real difference is that computers don't speak English, they speak programming languages. And here's the cool part. Every single complex program you've ever used, from your web browser to a video game, is built from these really simple, logical building blocks. It isn't magic, it's just about breaking a big task down into tiny little steps that the computer can follow one by one. So, if we need a language to talk to our computer, which one should we pick? Well, for beginners, the answer is almost always Python. It was actually designed from the very beginning to be easy to write and, just as important, super easy to read. And what's really cool is its origin story. You'd probably think it was named after a snake, right? But nope. The creator, Guido van Rossum, was a big fan of the British comedy group Monty Python. He wanted a name that was short, a little unique, and maybe a little mysterious. It kind of shows the fun, playful approach that's still a big part of the Python community today. Its popularity has just exploded, and for good reason. Because its language is so clean and simple, developers can get way more done with less code. I mean, huge companies like Google and Netflix rely on it. Plus, there are these amazing toolkits. They're called libraries, with pre-written code for pretty much anything you can imagine. And best of all, there's a huge, friendly community out there ready to help you if you ever get stuck. So, how do we actually start building something? Well, I like to think of learning to code like getting a brand new box of Legos. First, you have to learn what the basic pieces do, right? And then, once you know that, you can combine them to build absolutely anything you can imagine. All right, the first and probably most important Lego brick you need to know is something called a variable. When we're programming, we need a way to store and label pieces of information so we can find them and use them later. And that's exactly what a variable does. This is the perfect way to think about it. Just imagine you have a bunch of empty boxes. You put your books in one, and you slap a label on it that says books. You put your keys in another and label it keys. A variable is just that. It's a labeled container inside the computer's memory that holds a piece of data for you. Now, of course, the things we put in those boxes aren't all the same. I mean, you wouldn't store soup in a cardboard box, right? It's the wrong container. In Python, every single piece of data has a type, which just tells the computer what kind of information it is and what you're allowed to do with it. These are pretty much the 4 main types you're going to run into all the time. You've got integers, which are just whole numbers. Floats, for any number that has a decimal point. Strings, which is just a fancy word for text. And then booleans, which are just a simple true or false. Perfect for making decisions. The last Lego piece for today is the function. A function is basically a reusable block of code that does one specific thing. So instead of writing the same instructions over and over again, you can just wrap them up inside a function, give it a name, and then call that name whenever you need to get that job done. So now that we know the basic pieces, we've got variables to store our data, data types to tell us what kind of data it is, and functions to do things with it, what can we actually build? The answer is pretty much anything. Seriously, from automating those boring spreadsheets and building websites, all the way to powering the AI that gives you recommendations on Netflix, or even just automatically downloading stuff from the web, Python is really like the Swiss Army knife of programming languages.
And just remember, even the most complex, mind-blowing AI program is still just built from those same simple instructions we've been talking about. So, you ready? Let's put it all together and give our computer its very first instruction. This is it. This is the traditional first step for pretty much every new programmer on Earth. This one simple line of code tells the computer to display the text "Hello World" on the screen. It might seem small, but it's a huge deal. You are officially telling the computer what to do. So let's just quickly break this down. Print is the name of a function that's built right into Python. The parentheses are where we put the information we're giving to that function. And the text inside the quotes, that's a string, the actual piece of data we want the function to display. See that? You just used a function and a data type. And really, that's what this is all about. Learning to code isn't just about learning a new language. It's about learning a new way to solve problems, to automate your world. It literally turns your computer from a simple tool into a powerful engine for your own creativity. So just take a second and think about that. You've just taken the very first step on this incredible journey. All those simple, boring tasks or those big creative ideas you've had, they are all within your reach now. The only question left is, what are you going to build?